Kubica and Massa are battling here.
Max Verstappen has just sent Holland into raptures.
Charles Leclerc trying to go around the outside. Can they make it through? They bang wheels, and barging through is Charles Leclerc.
Wow. So at the restart already, George got caught out on a wide line, so that gave Leclerc a little bit of pushing George onto the dirt.
He's got so much work to do though, from this far back. No way around the outside. Holds it.
Yeah, then he doesn't well, he doesn't have the space. So he cannot complain.
He can.
And he will.
I mean, it's track, surely.
It's so difficult to overtake into that first corner, but he's done it. Look, he's just pushed his way through, and that was great driving from Rosberg, responding immediately then to the hurry up that he had. And will Barrichello have a slither up the inside of turn 3 now? And he's trying, and he's slightly out of control, and he's going to whack the Ferrari. He lost the back of the car, and he's lost the corner of his front wing. That might not do too much damage. It was the bit that was hanging off anyway. So Rubens Barrichello wants to fight with everybody today. Here we go. I don't think there's actually an overtaking attempt in the end from Rubens. I think he just dropped the back end slightly as on the downshift, and that was the bit that was hanging off. So, well, will he get a penalty for that? I don't think he will. It was just a driver error, really got in a bit too deep. It wasn't reckless. There's Seb Vettel, and he can barely slow down in the pit lane. He's so anxious to get on with it because the speed limit, yeah, that's fair enough.
Yep.
The speed limit is now 50 miles. Now, I love that. That brain switched on at all times from Seb Vettel there.
This is Alex Albon going onto the grass to get past Sergio Perez, and he got ahead of Perez. Well, they say that the Racing Point driver should have left a bit more space.
Risky move because it only needs a pothole or something. Where was that? In Australia, wasn't there, where somebody ripped was it Ricardo ripped his front suspension off in a pothole by going on the grass?
Past Johnny Herbert goes Eddie Irvine all over the place. They both go over the apex of turn 13, and Eddie Irvine's gigantic push has succeeded. Eddie Irvine courageously dives inside Johnny Herbert. They both go off the track. There won't be a penalty, I think, because I don't think either of them suffered. I may be wrong there. It depends on the judgment of the stewards. And look at the way Irvine had to fight to retain control of that Ferrari.
Yeah, we called it a tank slapper in this business, Murray. Eddie just got underneath him coming into the last chicane there. Took him in real deep, and I think it was best for both of them that they took the wide exit and ran on the grass.
Yeah, I was down the inside of him, and the two of us just brake right on the limit, and I was on the dirt on the inside, and I could have tried to make the corner, but I might have lost it, so I thought it was better just to go straight. And I don't know what happened to Johnny, but he seemed to lose a lot of time as well, so I don't know whether he followed me through it or whether he made the corner or not. I don't know.
Now is Raikkonen seizing up the Red Bull here to have a go towards the hairpin.
Ricciardo struggling with his tyres. This is costing Hamilton dearly. He's now 25 seconds off the lead, and Ricciardo struggling on those super softs.
There goes Hamilton again, down the inside, late under braking, locks up, and they certainly touch, and there's a bit of bodywork flies off the Ferrari as Lewis Hamilton slides his way past, beats Ricciardo, beats Raikkonen out of that hairpin. Hamilton moves himself up into 7th, but it wasn't without incident.
Critical, important, risky beyond belief, but he made it through, didn't he?
It was like driving on ice. It really was. Watch the lock-up here for Lewis Hamilton.
How they didn't manage to hit Perez, I'll never know.
Oh dear, oh dear. It's an almighty charge by Lewis Hamilton, this.
Oh, 10 centimetres later on the brakes, and that was just a huge crash. He's got away with it.
And watch what flies off the right-hand side of the front wing. Raikkonen's car like an arrow spearing up into the sky.
Alonso is risking everything. He really, really wants this. He wants the victory. Here we go. Tucked up he is. Massa looks in his mirrors. Where is he? They touch wheels.
Incredible. He's got away with it. He takes the lead. Alonso in the lead. This is down into that turn 5, I believe. And Alonso goes around the outside. Massa understeers into the side of him. A quick touch of tyres and on they go. This is Sutil and Kobayashi making contact, and what happens? Kobayashi is now ahead of Sutil by 3 seconds, so he did get through there.
And let's go to Esteban Ocon. He's made the move on the Mercedes, has he? Because that was the car in front. Ocon going super brave, and he's got to the inside, exactly a car's width left.
Antonelli covered the inside, but not enough for a car's width still. Esteban Ocon, bit of grass.
And there's Massa, we're on board with him, battling with Kubica over 6th place. Kovalainen has finished 2nd, Raikkonen is 3rd. Kubica and Massa are battling here. Massa has taken the place away from Kubica, and in the very corner where Kubica hit Lewis Hamilton. Kovalainen 2nd, then Raikkonen 3rd, David Coulthard's 4th, and who's going to win out of these two?
It's got all the hallmarks of Dijon so many decades ago, but it's Massa who's come out in front. What an extraordinary few corners as they were trading literally blows towards the end of the race, and it's Massa who takes 6th. Maybe the stewards will be having a look at that, but it looked pretty much 50-50 in terms of who was dishing it out there.
Corner 10 he came a bit wide, we touched 2 times there, then I was forced to cut the track on the grass. I come back, he cut the track on the grass, he overtook me and so on until last corner. I think Felipe was a bit upset of the race. I was also a bit upset of my race, so we just put it all what we have in these 5 corners.
And Vettel is having a look at the other Ferrari. This time he's going to go down the outside. That's a better line, as long as he doesn't end up with too much grass. And Alonso pushed him wide, he would have none of it. And Vettel has the turn-in point, and that was bravery at 200 miles an hour.
Anyone who doubts that Sebastian Vettel can race, that was brave stuff. We spoke about this in the qualifying show. Curva never used to be flat in the days when you were racing with the turbos, and he was flat on the grass round the outside of Alonso.
Charles Leclerc leads the Austrian Grand Prix. Max Verstappen behind him, separated by a few car lengths. There are 3 laps to go towards turn 3. Is he going to go inside or outside? Which way is Verstappen going to go here? DRS wide open, gaining on the Ferrari. Switches early, Verstappen, late braking. Leclerc this time might just have to give way as he goes off the track. And when he comes back on, Max Verstappen has just sent Holland into raptures. He leads the Austrian Grand Prix. What a battle this has been. This is how Verstappen did it. How clean was that, Paul? They bang wheels.
I think he positioned himself perfectly. He was entitled to the corner. He was alongside him with all 4 wheels.
He turned in on me.
Mate, there was nothing wrong with that, mate. Nothing wrong with it.
What the hell is that?
Look at that, that's a very good slipstream going on there, and Kovalainen has done it. But can he keep it inside? Here comes the Ferrari of Massa. I'll have a bit of that, and 2 places as Kovalainen on the marbles on the outside of the corner cannot find traction. What a brilliant move there from Massa, and that releases him and Kovalainen. Look at this. It's the only thing you could do really. He's either going to hit the Honda, and a tremendous piece of driving, and that has transformed Felipe Massa's afternoon. He might be on the podium yet.
Can't get much closer through Portier than that. Mark Webber then, the Renault accelerates out of the corner. Webber's in his slipstream. Is he going to have a crack this time?
Well, the talk of the Renault looked good, but he's got a chance. Do you think he's going to have a go? Here he goes, and he makes it, does he?
Has he?
And I think Fernando will have to give him that place back. What do you think, Jensen? I think Fernando will have to hand that place back or get penalised.
Well, the problem is that Webber went a bit wide as well. He actually went over the curb. He had all 4 wheels over the curb, so Alonso can say, push me wide. I couldn't do anything.
Yeah, but Webber made a specific effort to get back and maintain the racetrack. Alonso absolutely did not.
Yeah, Alonso won't let it pass. He'll wait until the end of the race, see what happens. Well, if they're going to do something about it, they need to do it soon, because Webber is closer than ever through Portier. Is he going to have another go on the run down to the chicane? He's closer than he was last time.
So it interests me what you say, Jensen. You know, maybe Fernando can say, I had no option but to go down there. And this time, and he's going to do it again. And he has to just yield now. He has to yield.
Yeah, but Webber went off the circuit, so Webber's got to yield.
Well, they both went off the circuit, didn't they?
Webber went straight on. You know, he should be laying Alonso back fast now.
There should be some big spears there, so nobody
just disqualify them both.
Well, the rules say it's about whether you gain position or you gain advantage, I think, to be more precise in those situations. And you'd have to say they both were equally guilty of the same crime to a certain extent. Look, Fernando could have made that corner and elected to actually swerve back across the no man's land. Anyway, he's behind him now, but my view is that Mark is more in the right than Fernando, and the two incidents combined.
Damon Hill, who's into the last 2 miles of the Hungarian Grand Prix, with Jacques Villeneuve burying his throttle and obliterating the space
he's
between
right behind
the two.
him, look. Here comes Villeneuve.
Villeneuve's going to take the lead. Villeneuve is going to win the Hungarian Grand Prix. Oh, Damon, the whole of the world's heart will go. Villeneuve takes to the grass.
My pit crew told me that he was slowing down, so I started pushing again, and when I got towards him, he was going left and right, so I thought he had a broken suspension, but I knew he was going to block me. It was normal on the last lap, so I just went in the grass, and the car was pretty good in the grass.
We saw Kobayashi, didn't we, going through at the hairpin. He got very late on the brakes. He's the sort of kid that would steal your sweets at school, isn't he? Because he really does send them in there. But a very, very aggressive move from Kobayashi. He's up into 10th place now, having passed Al Jaswari.
It's very difficult for somebody breathing down your neck, especially somebody with the name and reputation of Senna in and McLaren. And Senna has made it alongside. He's won the corner. And look at Alesi, that's cheeky, isn't it? Senna was a little bit sloppy, and Alesi's back in the lead. Fantastic stuff by Alesi. Tremendous opportunist driving. Instead of letting the car run wide to block Alesi, look, sloppy driving. He just didn't expect it, and Alesi nipped back inside him. Tremendously cheeky and wonderful stuff.
The Ferrari has got through. I'm afraid the defence from Romain Grosjean at the third time of asking didn't pay off there, and Leclerc did get through at Rascasse. You've got to hand it to Leclerc. That was pretty smart.
I think there was nothing unfair. He could take the risk because he has nothing to lose, so Leclerc is the hometown boy here and he wants some points, I guess.
Hamilton, though, close enough now to be picking up the slipstream of the Red Bull in front, and Hamilton gaining as the wheels turn round, and now goes wheel to wheel with Sergio Perez. And does he pass Sergio Perez? Under braking, he gives the Red Bull a wide berth just in case. He knows that he can make this move stick in the next few corners. He pushes Sergio Perez almost into the pit lane entry. Perez is not going to give this one up without a fight, and they are almost level pegging as they start the next lap. Hamilton's got better acceleration as down towards turn one we go. Has Hamilton got up into 4th place? No, he's not. Sergio Perez on the inside regains the place that he might have lost by millimetres a few hundred metres before. Hamilton, I think, thought he would have got the job done coming out of 13. That's where Perez got pushed into the pit lane, but the stewards haven't noted it. Hamilton, did he push Perez just a little bit too far wider in the heat of the moment? Is that absolutely acceptable?
And Hamilton's up the inside and he makes the move work for him. So brilliant then. He'd been sizing that one up for several laps. He had the advantage of the DRS rear wing and he just plunged the car up the inside. Schumacher is wise enough to see it coming. Didn't make it easy, but that was a crucial pass for Lewis Hamilton's afternoon.
Vettel just will hope now to slot behind him, try and pick up a bit of a tote at the Red Bull if he possibly can, and make his move on his former teammate down towards turn 6. This time he's going to go round the outside. He went down the inside of Kimi Räikkönen, went round the outside of Daniel Ricciardo. Ricciardo fights back, but has Sebastian Vettel got just far enough ahead? Yes, he has. They touched as they went through turn 7, but not enough to put either driver off, and Sebastian Vettel pulls off a super move there on his former teammate. He was running 5th a few moments ago. He's now up into the podium places.
Can Norris use the slipstream and get ahead? Tsunoda, nearly off the road there. Lando Norris, decisive move to the inside. Tsunoda thinks about the lunge, but there's nothing he can do. And for all the talk of tactics, first chance for Lando Norris offered up, first chance taken, and he's back in P3, which he needs to become the champion. It's a 5-second penalty for Yuki Tsunoda for more than one change of direction. Does that mitigate things for Lando Norris, or did he leave the track and gain an advantage? The Turn 5 incident involving Lando Norris and Yuki Tsunoda, no further action for leaving the track and gaining an advantage.
It's lights out and away we go. Hamilton, I think, got the better start there. He's already easing alongside his teammate Nico Rosberg. It's going to be two Mercedes going wheel to wheel into the first turn. Verstappen into the inside in about 7th. And Hamilton looks to have forced his teammate wide again. And Rosberg has to go off the track and Hamilton into the lead. Daniel Ricciardo follows him. Daniel Kvyat challenging his teammate as they head down the hill. Rosberg's losing places again.
Now let's see if there's any contact. I think they just arrived there with no front grip. And boom, out it goes. A little help off the track to release both clutches, and there's his teammate for close company. They did touch. They did touch. He had to turn out of the corner. It was a proper shove.
Now he thought in Japan, Nico Rosberg, that Lewis Hamilton didn't show him enough respect in turn 2 and ran him out too wide.
Well, let's just see if he's got any front grip when he gets there. Let's see how much he turns the steering wheel and if the car just slides across the road. He was running out of space. He didn't turn the steering wheel.
Max Verstappen struggling, Ricciardo's passing him, Sergei Sorokin's passing Lance Stroll as well into turn 1, and the two Red Bulls might have touched there as well. Verstappen aggressively defending against his teammate. There's no team orders down at Red Bull today. Verstappen stays ahead. Was Verstappen a bit over-aggressive here?
Oh, he was brave to go in there, wasn't he? I mean, he nearly wasn't stopping, locked the inside wheel. I think he had to give Danny Rick a bit more space than that. Of course, there's a tailwind down from 2 to 3, but you can see Ricciardo, he's taking the long way around because Max is making it difficult. Of course, all very fair racing, wheel to wheel, what you want to see, but wow, that nearly took 2 cars out.
There's Ricciardo running wide, and that's where the two Red Bulls did clash.